Hello, hello. I'm coming to you today to share how we increased our client sales by over $1.1 million in just 3 months. Whether you're an agency owner looking to improve your B2B clients marketing strategy, or you're a B2B business owner looking to do it yourself, watch this to get our insights and also our actionable tips because that's what we want to share here. Let's get right into it. We took this B2B company from 200K in sales in January to over 1.3 million in April. We just got the sales report for April. It's over 1.3 million. Went back to check what the sales were when we started working with the client, which was in January, and noticed that crazy increase. So we kind of wanted to do a deep dive on what we did to get us there, to help the client get there. Also, looking at what the client did on their ends. And I want to start with that for context so we can know what was already in place because oftentimes I see clients relying maybe a lot on marketing only to help them jumpstart their sales. But we're also part of a whole ecosystem. So there's obviously the company and what you have already in place as a company. And then there's also the market and how the market is acting. In no way you should discard that and focus only on marketing. And if anything, before making investments in marketing, whether you're going to be working with an agency like this client did with us, or whether you're going to be doing it yourself and probably you still have marketing budgets. So you may have someone internally helping you with that. You may have ads budgets. And even if you're doing it yourself, it still will take you a lot of time and so resources, and it's time that you're not spending elsewhere. So make sure that you have a really good and strong foundation before you spend that time, that money, those resources basically on marketing. So I kind of wanted to preface the video by just saying that there's three main things that you're going to want to look at before we dive into the marketing strategy itself. This is what we've analyzed that this client did really good to help us achieve these results with marketing. So first of all, their marketing mix. We, on our end, we tend to focus a lot on the communications aspect of marketing, so promotion. And if we take it back to basic 101 marketing school, basically we have 4 P's in our mix. And so we have the product is the very first one. So make sure you have a good product because without that, you're nothing. The price has to also be right. And then we have everything that's like distribution. So where you are distributing and all of that. And lastly, we have promotion. So everything kind of needs to make sense together and be aligned. And with the promotion, so communication and what we would refer to now as marketing, globally, marketing is all of that basically. But before focusing on that, we need to get aligned on the other three things and make sure that our promotion and our communication and marketing efforts fits with the product and the price because you're not going to market something that's a completely different price point, the exact same. And when I say price, it's not like the price itself, it's also how the price is on the market if you compare it to your competitors, for instance. So if you're priced a lot higher, chances are that your product is also of a lot higher quality, and then your promotion, so your marketing, communication, branding should reflect that. And you should have a much more elevated branding to reflect that, obviously. That's the first thing. Their marketing mix is good. Their pricing is competitive. Their positioning is very clear. So we're positioning it as they offer basically the best value, and the product is very qualitative, and the operations are smooth. So they do deliver their projects super fast. By the way, this client, just to give you a little bit of background, they build and sell custom food trucks for people who want to open a food truck business. So they do food trucks, trailers, and stuff like that. I think, though, that these tips can apply to any type of business, but I do think it's interesting to mention that it's mostly for B2B businesses where we tend to see it's more maybe of a challenge because we don't see those communications as a consumer a lot compared to B2C products. So, just as a friendly reminder, B2B is business to business. So, that's when you're marketing your offer, so product, service to other businesses, so professionals. And it can be, in that case, sometimes it will be restaurants who want to open a mobile version of their restaurants, but sometimes it's just one single person but they're acting and they're thinking as a business owner. So that's kind of different. And also, usually, what that means is that the investments are a lot more than B2C, which is business to consumer, which is what you would buy as a consumer. So that can be just food, coffee, anything that you buy as a person and not for your business, even if it's only you making the decisions in your business. Hope that makes sense. Then the second thing that they also had in place that was, I think, really important is internally, they have their ducks in a row. So they have a great sales team. The sales team has a process in place, and we work in very close collaboration with the sales team. So I cannot emphasize enough how important that is to have success if you have a sales led company. So basically, then it's very clear who is doing what. Our job as the marketing agency in that instance is to get the leads to them. And then the sales team takes the leads and then they have to work with the leads and convert and do their job. If it's shaky in one or the other, it doesn't work because we could get so many leads and the same quality of leads. If the sales team is not good or something in the process is not working, or if, like mentioned before, the pricing is off, you're not going to have the same results. So I think it's a very fine balance, and we want to really fine tune everything before you start investing so much. And also, that's just overall really important to make sure that everyone works basically on the same level and is very collaborative because we feed from insights from each other with that. And then the third thing that is also really important and helpful for us to help us do our job correctly is that they are investing in marketing. They have that mindset that marketing is an investment. They know that that's where the source comes from, like the leads come from that, and that they need to invest and they view it as an investment and not just as an expense. So, what that means for us, very simply, is that we have good budgets to work with. So, we're able to do something and then everything just gets amplified because you're working with good budgets and then it just like has an amplification effect. And once again, you don't want to get to that if you don't have everything working for you before until you have that really strong foundation. Once you have that foundation, that's the mindset you should have. That marketing really is an investment, but you want to make sure that down the line, you're not just like spending money to spend money and expecting results if then your sales team is not working, or before that, if your product is not such great quality, then it won't work. All that being said, now the sales team was the same 3 months ago when we started working with the clients. The pricing was also the same, and the marketing budget was the same and even slightly higher. Not so much, so let's say it was the same. So the only difference between this 200K per month in sales and the 1.3 million in sales that we did this month was marketing. And basically, it's when they made the change from a previous marketing management to working with us. So, how did we do it? That's what we want to get into. So, let's get right into it. Number one, I think what's very important is that we have a holistic marketing strategy. What do I mean by that exactly? It's that we don't just focus on one thing to get them leads, because we understand that different marketing channels work together. So it's not like we're focusing only on one thing and expecting that to do the entire job. So we know that consumers need on average 7 to 8 interactions with a brand to basically jump the gun and like make a purchase, like do something about it. And I think that's like an average. And so if you think of a B2B business, those products and offers are usually even more expensive than if, let's say, you're like a direct to consumer shampoo brand or something like that. Maybe you're selling your shampoos like at a high price point. Let's say like it's like $30 to $50. But the products that we're talking about right now, they range from around like 50,000 to 150, $200,000 for one project. And so they require either the company or the business owner to have that amount to be ready to trust the company with that much money or to get through financing. And it's a lot longer process. So I would expect it's even more interactions with the brand. And before launching the business, obviously you're not like doing it like you're buying shampoo. You're kind of thinking this thing through. So you need a lot of interactions with a brand, and you would be basically wasting opportunities if you only focus on one thing. So if your strategy is like only social media and that only, you're kind of wasting opportunities because you need to include lots of things, because maybe they see you once here and first they see you when looking for the thing they're looking for on Google and they know they want to go ahead. And that's great because we know we have intent. And then they follow you on Instagram that they find through your website. And then you pop up in their feed regularly. And then they also sign up to your newsletter. And then you send them an email and you have like a specific offer. And basically, you just, with all of that, stay top of mind in that person's mind. So when they're ready to go, they're going to instantly be thinking of your brand. So it's more of a long-term strategy, but that's what has really, really been working. And in some instances, we have in the past worked with clients where we only do one thing. So it's only Google Ads because they're not ready to fully commit to everything that we can offer. And usually they're not at all as successful because you become really successful when you can make all of these things work together. And basically, what you spend in one end gets amplified through the other things that we also do. So that's, in my opinion, the smartest way to work and to have a marketing strategy. So for us, what that included exactly is number one, ads. Number one is Google. Then we have Facebook ads. So that's Facebook plus Instagram. We also have, second, an organic social media strategy with high quality content. And then the third main thing would be email marketing. So it's not even so much, but if you think of it, it's like a lot of different things that basically you treat differently. Obviously, across the board, you want to make sure that your messaging stays consistent, that you're always saying the same thing, but you're, of course, adapting it to that specific thing. And you also know what channel fits where in the consumer journey. So in the audience journey, because at that point, they're not necessarily a lead yet. So that's before they even become a lead. So you want to know basically where you fit. So for instance, for them, I would think one scenario could be that someone has intent or they're doing research about opening a food truck. So they would do a search on Google. And then they find us through there. And then the end thing is that oftentimes we will be able to mostly convert with email, maybe. But we have, of course, lead forms and the ability to convert that person into a lead at any stage in the journey. But you kind of want to know like the different types of scenarios and do your tests and all of that. The second thing that's super important when starting, whether you're doing it alone, you're an agency working on it, or you have an agency that's going to work on this, is ask to have an audit made and a strategy. So basically, in the audit, you want to assess everything that you're doing currently. And if you can have someone that has kind of an outside vision, because if you've been working on it yourself, you don't have that vision because you've been doing the thing and you're very into the details of what you're doing for your marketing. So you want someone that has an eye that is a little bit more with more distance, basically. And that's the audit that you're doing. And based on the insights that you get from that audit, then you want to build your strategy around that. So for us, the strategy then was to prioritize the channels that generate the most leads first. Because when you take something over and you have to work on everything all at once, it's a lot. And you cannot fully optimize everything in just 1 week. That's not, it does take time to optimize everything. So we kind of have a plan and we know, okay, what will right now drive the most results? Because when we came in, those sales were not good. The client is not happy about that. So we need to get them up a lot faster. So we're going to basically just focus on what will drive the most leads. So we look at in the past few years, where did we get most of the leads from? And we focus on that. And so for them, it was Google Ads. So what we did for Google Ads in shorts, and we could do maybe something to do a deep dive on how you're going to optimize your Google Ads. But basically, we focused a lot on updating locations because we did an analysis on that and realized that we were always getting sales from the same states, like the same few states. So we're going to invest our money wisely and just spend it on those states that are going to be able to basically give us the best results. Like it's the same. It's all about prioritizing. Well, you get it. Then the second thing is keywords. We focused on not only adding keywords that are relevant to the searches, but a lot of the work that we did was also on negative keywords. So in case you're not super familiar about Google Ads, please look into negative keywords. So game changing. So basically it's the keywords that you give to Google that you don't want them to show your ads for. And that was super important because for that specific client, they're selling custom food trucks for people who want to open a food truck business. But a lot of the searches that we were seeing, so people were clicking, and when they click, we spend money for that click where they were looking for a food truck rental for an event. So let's say their wedding or a food truck vendor. So somewhere that they want to go eat at a food truck establishment. And those are not the clients we want. They're looking to eat somewhere, not to buy a food truck. So we're just wasting money there. And the fourth thing that you want to look at with your Google Ads is the creative. So then once you have kind of all of that set up, and that was the bulk of the work, once again, you want to also make sure that your creative is good and up to date and like, what are you trying to say? So for instance, we reworked all of the headlines because a lot of things that we noticed is once again, they're inside and the person taking care of marketing before that was internal to the team. So that also maybe doesn't help that you have that thing that you're in it all day long. And one of the advantages that we have being an agency is we have a lot more perspective and distance. And we're really, but regardless, you can do it. Just really put yourself in the customer, in the audience's shoes. So, for instance, they were having headlines such as this floor plan, so name of the floor plan for this price. But when you see a Google ad, you're looking to have something very descriptive that really explains what you're doing. And we don't care about the name of your floor plan, like the internal thing that you have named that. That comes later, maybe on your website where you give more detail. But at first, people just care about very few things, and you need to be as descriptive as possible to show them that basically you are offering what they're looking for right now because they have intent right now if they search that. Hope that makes sense. So the second thing we worked on optimizing was Facebook ads. And also we started with the ads in the order where we have the most spending. So Google ads is where this client spends the most. It's over three quarters of the budget, I would say. And then Facebook ads is second. So that's why obviously we get the most leads from Google and then Facebook. But we optimized it in that order because basically until Google ads isn't fully optimized, all that money that you're spending each month is just wasted if you're not optimizing it. So that's really important to not waste all that money. And we go where the biggest amount is, obviously. So, second, Facebook ads. What we wanted to do is test out different types of campaigns. So, you have different types of campaigns that you can work with on Facebook, and I think you can do a lot of tests. So, right now, we do have some lead campaigns, we have a traffic campaign, so that's like kind of our setup. We also, of course, worked on the targeting, so the locations, the interests, really focus on the interests, the ages. So basically, we try to niche down and make sure that we're spending money only on people that are really highly interested, because we didn't just want to increase the quantity of the leads that we're getting. We really wanted to improve the quality and also get that price per lead and even price per conversion at the end per sale. We want to get it down so that our client has the best possible return on their investment. And then one thing that wasn't done before, and I don't know how it hadn't been done because you're wasting so much potential, is to create a retargeting campaign. So on Facebook, we want to make sure that we have a retargeting campaign. A retargeting campaign is where you can who either went on your website or consumed your content or on social media or interacted with one of your ads. So basically kind of hot leads. So people who had like some interest in something you were sharing at some point. And then of course we segment them, but we want to see that and we want to show them more ads because like I said before, they need lots of interaction with the brand. So we want to increase frequency. Then of course you don't want to be spammy and it being too much, but chances are that people need to see your brand come up a lot before they make the decision to even just inquire. So, and also one reason where it is kind of a missed opportunity if you don't do that is that the cost per click on a retargeting campaign on Facebook is way lower than the cost per click on a traffic, like a regular traffic campaign. So then, because you're showing it to someone who already kind of knows your content, so it ends up being way lower because they're already interested. So the chances of them clicking are higher. And also, on Facebook ads. So that's Facebook, that's Instagram, like you can choose your placements. But basically, the Google ads clicks are way higher than the ones are on Facebook. So just to give you kind of a ballpark number here, or Google ads click are maybe on average like around $1. Maybe you can get them down to like 60 cents, something like that, but it's always like in that range. Whereas on Facebook, we have for a traffic campaign, I think it's around $0.05. And for the retargeting, it's 0.03. So you're getting in front of a lot more people. And basically, the strategy is that we are kind of getting attention from people through Google when they have intent. So they search with an intent to get into it. So they're telling us, like, we're interested in buying what you have to offer right now. And then we get that click. They go on our website. We track that. We make sure we don't lose them on that. We track that. And then on Facebook, we will show them ads, except we pay a lot less to show them our ads on Facebook versus on Google. And also, it's people that we know were interested in the first place. So it just overall makes sense. I hope it does make sense to you the way I explained it. And then, of course, on Facebook, same as on Google, we want to make sure that our creative is good, that it makes sense for that person at that stage of the journey, that we test out different things. So maybe that's video, that's photo, like there's a lot of things that we can test. And the great thing with all of that, with digital marketing in general, is that you get data insights. So you should really, really test things and see what happens. And then you can only focus and double down on the things that work best for you. So you know that you're just really optimizing all of your marketing dollars, basically. Then the third thing we did for them and that we're doing on an ongoing basis is organic social media presence. So we shoot content for them that's high quality, that makes sense for social media. So photos and reels adapted to the platform that we want to share on. We post 2 to 3 times a week, so nothing like a crazy schedule. We're not posting like 10 times per week or twice a day. We do a mix of mostly carousel posts on Instagram and Reels. And we are also present in a lot of social media platforms because we duplicate the content, but mostly the content is created for the biggest platforms that drive us results, which are Instagram and Facebook. And then, of course, the Reels, for instance, we also post them on TikTok. But most of our energy, at least when we're creating the content, is with Instagram and Facebook in mind. And then mostly the type of content that we're doing is showcasing our project because what we want to do for that company, and I think it's in general for any company, especially B2B, is that we want to build trust. So customers want to see that we do have lots of projects, the quality that we do, and also we're through that kind of educating them in the process and showing them that we will be basically guiding them and not only providing something that they order, we get it for them. We will be guiding them through the process of opening a business. So, once again, seeing it from the targets and the audience's perspective, like they have maybe a lot of fear when it comes to opening a business, trusting someone with that amount of money. So, we need to make sure that we're also considering all of that in our strategy, in our creative, in everything we put out. And so the fourth and last thing that we worked on for that client was email marketing. And that's mainly helping us for conversions and also with visibility, of course. But in the audience's journey, I think email marketing really can help you with those conversions. And that's something that is super interesting because that's basically kind of the only time where you own the client's contacts. Don't love that term. It's like just in terms of marketing, if you think of it everywhere else before. So the ads, Google ads, Facebook ads, we're paying to get in front of them. Then on social media, we're not paying when it's organic, but we are kind of working with the algorithm, which we are not so much in control of. So sometimes we could pop up in their feed, sometimes not. If there's a change in the algorithm or something happens, then it kind of all gets messed up. And we don't really have full control of that. Whereas email marketing, you have their email address. First of all, it's great because it's telling you that they are already interested. Like they gave that information to you. We didn't purchase it, they gave it to us. And so they are interested in what we're doing. So either learning or they want to buy quite soon. But basically, we own it because then once we have it, we have that. And of course, you don't own it forever. You need to provide good quality content so that the people will stay subscribed on your list. And we don't want to spam them because there's this thing called sender reputation, and we don't want to be categorized as spammy because then the other people who are really interested in our content might not receive our emails as often if we show as spam or if a lot of people click that we're spam. or unsubscribe or all of that. So we want to make sure that our lists are clean and all of that. Otherwise, that doesn't work. But if we do it good, email marketing is amazing because if you think of it, it doesn't cost a lot. It's either like they're paying an agency to run the email marketing campaigns for you, or if you're the business owner, marketing person, it's just basically your time that you're spending. So it doesn't cost any marketing dollars. Maybe you pay for the content that you're putting there, but already what we do is a lot of the content, meaning photos, videos that we use in emails, most of that content we created for social media already. So we're just repurposing that. And even the content creation is not as expensive as an ads budget. So then that content, we also use it for organic social media, for the ads campaigns, and for email marketing. So the return on investment is really good on that. But email marketing is basically free or very, very cheap. And you get a good return on investment because oftentimes it helps you convert because maybe you're able to give a little bit more information than on social media. It can be longer form. So for them, what we do basically is we send weekly emails. And so it kind of goes like this. So we have one main email, maybe at the beginning of the month, that is showcasing a project for a few projects, or maybe it's a project linked to a specific product that they want to push that month. So let's say for operations, it's better for them to sell this type of projects than this other type. We will push that a bit more, obviously, because we work in sync with the internal team. So that email is usually a little bit longer, and we're also offering in that email different ways to interact and get in touch with us. So for us to get leads, so they can basically just contact us and reply to the email. They can go online in their tool to build their own floor plan. So it's basically kind of, you could replicate that as an other B2B business with a quiz. For instance, find out which one of our offers best works for you, where at the end of the thing, maybe you get a custom quote, but you don't have to interact with a person because oftentimes people will kind of be not willing to do that right away, at least some people, because then they feel like they're just going to be sold to and like give their information and that's it. They're going to keep calling me every day. And they don't really want that if the price isn't right or something doesn't work for them. So that's kind of what we're doing with that. And then we're also offering them to schedule a consultation if these are people that maybe they've done more research or if they prefer to have that interaction with an actual person, because everything we're doing is digital. Not everyone can come to their offices because they can have in person appointments, but maybe they're in the other side of the country and they're not going to come in person. And everything that we're trying to do with that is build trust. So maybe they want to make sure that it's a legit business with real people behind. Maybe they have more specific questions and they're at the point in their journey where they want to speak with someone to ask their questions and get answers and kind of figure out more. So basically, those are the three options mainly that we give them. And we do that in that first email. And then for the other emails that we have throughout the months, based on the performance of that first email, and usually recently they've been doing pretty good. We've had like around 50% opening rates. And that also goes back to we've been working on our list and like making sure our content is good and works for our audience. And then analyzing the results we get from the emails we send always. And based on that first email, we're going to be able to create other emails that will be more personalized for each person. So basically for each segment, because we're not sending individual emails either. So for instance, we will have one email that is basically 2 weeks later. It's a resend of that first email. and we're sending it again to the people who have not opened it. So maybe they missed it. It was a day that they had lots of emails, or maybe our subject line wasn't good enough or enticing enough for them. So we resend kind of that email. Sometimes we will change the content a little bit or update it with something. And we always change the subject line. So we resend it only to those people who did not open. And we do that towards the middle of the month, because what it's telling us is that those people aren't maybe as engaged and we don't want to send too many emails to them. So they only get basically 2 months with all of the main information. And then what we do is we do one that's focusing only on the build your own. So it's the online platform, their quiz, their thing where people can kind of interact online and then at the end get a quote. And we send this again to the people who clicked on that, but maybe they didn't go through. So they were interested and probably they were cut off like doing something else. And you know how it is because you've lived it yourself. So we send that again with just that one call to action. Like you can do this online, and look, you can kind of have a vision for your project. And then based on that, they give us their information, and then the sales team will be able to reach out to them. And the last thing we do is that we do another email focused only on the consultation. And that is sent to even less people because it takes time of a person in the team, obviously. And also less people are at this stage because it's kind of like it's filtering down basically. So that's for the email marketing part. So that is it. I tried to keep it as short as I could and quite simple. It's nothing crazy specific. Please let me know if you would like me to go into more details into specific things, because then for each individual channel, there's a lot to be said about each individual thing and how you can optimize each channel and each medium that you're using in your marketing. But I think the most important thing and the most game changing thing that we did to increase those sales of over $1 million in just 3 months, which is kind of crazy if you think about it, with only a change in marketing management, no change in sales, no change in marketing budget. So only basically relying on marketing, was really getting that strategy together, auditing what's working, what's not working, getting our priorities straight, and then working on iterating and optimizing. And then, of course, you'll get your own personalized data when you do that yourself. And for each client, it will be different. But you kind of need to have that perspective and take that bird's eye view. And that's also something specifically for agency owners, but also if you're a client, it goes both ways. You really need to trust each other, because you don't want to be a client hiring an agency and telling them what to do, which often is the case because it's your company, it's your business, you know it best. And definitely the agency should be asking you lots of questions to get as much insight as possible, as much data as possible, because that's what they will base the first strategy and plan off of. But then you don't want to tell them what to do when it comes to the micro of like what types of posts and what types of this and that. They should be analyzing and they should be thinking strategically themselves. And you don't want to tell them you should be doing Facebook ads or I want to hire you for that. If you want to have that holistic marketing management, you want to tell them, this is my business objective. What are you going to do, or how can we work? And then they're not going to be able to tell you right away. That's kind of a red flag. If you have right away an answer, they should be doing a strategy and working on that for you. And I know probably that's not what you like to hear the most, because that's kind of a cost and it feels like wasted time. But that's the best investment of that time, because then it tells you exactly what is the game plan and it's based on data. So that is actually a super important step. And same if you're an agency working with a client, you need to kind of tell them the rules of that, and that how you work is you're going to tell them what to do. You, of course, need their collaboration, their insights. It's super valuable. You will work closely with them and their teams. That's a given. But then, in terms of the marketing, you're the person in charge. And often that's very challenging because marketing is maybe one of the only things in small to medium companies that they have also employees internally. Maybe they have an office space or something like that, but maybe you're the only department that is outsourced. And so you're not there. So it's kind of like different than the others, but it can really be a strength once again, but that they also don't manage you like other people in their teams, where it's like maybe they have more direction as to exactly what to do, what are the processes. If they're hiring an agency, if they're making that decision, it needs to be clear that it's because you have your own processes, you have your own expertise. And usually, one of the great things also is that when they hire us as an agency, our clients are not only hiring one person or two, which is maybe with the same budget what they could afford to hire internally. They're hiring maybe a team of 5 to 8, even for a small agency. And so everyone's an expert in their own field. And you cannot have someone internally or expect one or two people to be as good in each thing that you're asking them to do. If you think of it, it's a lot of different things. It's strategy, copywriting, content creation, content edition, email marketing, ads management. Like there's a lot of different skills that go into it. There's design too. And so it takes a lot of different brains. You cannot be good at maybe analyzing data and be the best at that, and also the best at creating compelling designs and content for social media. I hope that makes sense and I hope it helped, and would love to know if you want to share what type of business do you have, if you're looking at that from the perspective of an agency or from the perspective of a B2B business. Hope this was helpful and I will talk to you soon.